Welcome back, everybody, to another Fall Obsession podcast episode brought to you guys by our friends over at Hoot Camo. My name is Sam Thrash. I'm your show host over here. Thank you guys for tuning in. This week, my guest is Jenn Yarbrough. She is a land agent for the Midwest Land Group working out of Northeast and North Central Kansas. She's also an avid outdoorswoman, a world record holder for international spear fishing. And she's got a ton of other awesome stories and adventures that have made up her journey into hunting and the outdoors, living that outdoor lifestyle that we all know and love. I invited her on the show to talk about all of these things with a heavy focus on farm and hunting land real estate, talking about some of the do's and don'ts of that from both the buyer and the agent perspective, and just talking about how attainable land really is to purchase if you set your mind and your goals to it. So it's a really great conversation. I really enjoyed this one. Jen's a great person, and it was awesome getting to chat with her about these things. Hope you guys enjoy it as well. Before we get to our conversation, going to knock out the housekeeping real quick here on the podcast. First and foremost, if you are listening to the show for the very first time, whatever platform you are streaming on, please make sure that you guys hit that follow or subscribe button, whatever they have up there for you guys. Turn those notifications on if that's an option. That way, you know every single week when we drop a new podcast episode. The audio version hits all the podcast apps and Carbon TV, Waypoint TV on Monday mornings. And then if you guys like watching the podcast videos, you can catch those on our YouTube channel, dropping every Thursday of the same week. We also are doing some live shows for our podcast on our YouTube channel. So if you guys want to tune in as we're recording with our guests, the YouTube is the way that you guys can do that. We actually did a live show with Jenn on this podcast. We don't do it every time, but about half of our episodes are live shows that you guys can join in and interact with our guests in the chat feature. So again, an awesome opportunity for you guys to get involved and experience Fall Obsession podcast in a different way. Make sure you are subscribed to the YouTube channel. In addition to the podcast, we have a lot of awesome other productions that we put out. We just dropped a new episode a couple weeks ago of our Midwest Mindset series with show host Mike Teepee up there. We got some other shows and films in the works that we're trying to get caught up on right now and get published for you guys so you guys can watch them on that, again, on the YouTube channel. And then we also, like I just mentioned, I talked about the live. We're trying to get more into this whole live show type thing. So once a month, we are doing a live campfire chat with our team. It is raw hunt talk. It is as just simple and basic as it comes. Literally just a monthly get together for our team here at Fall Obsession that we broadcast live to YouTube. And you guys can just hang out with us, hit us up in the chat, like I mentioned earlier, and interact with everybody and just see what it's like kind of behind the curtain of the Fall Obsession team and get to experience that with us. So YouTube's the place to be right now. Social media, wherever you guys are active, Fall Obsession is active there too. All the major platforms, Facebook, X, Instagram. We're on TikTok. Go check us out and follow the Fall Obsession pages on there. Fallobsession.com is the website. That's where everything that we produce and are involved in filters through. This podcast, our staff-inspired video podcast called Couch Chats is on there, and a ton of other hunting shows that we produce filter through the website. You can find our films, our educational articles, our gear reviews, our wild game recipes. We have all sorts of stuff for you guys on fallobsession.com. Go check it out. And last but not least, if you guys have not heard of Carbon TV, you need to go look it up. Carbon TV is a free hunting and outdoor streaming app and service for hunters. You can find hundreds of different hunting shows, podcasts, and films covering so many different genres in the hunting and outdoor industry. 4 of our Fall Obsession productions are broadcasted and streamed on Carbon TV. This podcast, the Couch Chat series, like I just mentioned, and our 2 hunting shows, Texas Dirt and Midwest Mindset, you can find all of those on Carbon TV. And on that note, we're going to get to our conversation with Jenn. Hope you guys enjoy. You guys are listening to another Fall Obsession podcast.
The power lies within that middle ground.
Hunting transformed my life.
I think you have to be built somewhat different.
That Dale Brisby's a super puncher.
Hey, we need to get Pop-Tarts on the next Walmart order. I'm serious.
is to come into this country and stay dedicated to that. It was pretty awesome.
If it's only for one, then you've done your job.
We have to do what's right for the wildlife, and that's our responsibility as hunters.
Fall Obsession Podcast.
Welcome back, everyone, to another Fall Obsession Podcast episode. My name is Sam, hosting you guys, and my guest this week is Jenn Yarbrough. Welcome to Fall Obsession Podcast.
Hey y'all, I am happy to be here, and as Sam's name implies, I am fall obsessed.
I love it. Yeah, I love it when our guests are fall obsessed. It always makes for an awesome time. But um, you have a pretty impressive resume, I would say. You're a land agent for the Midwest Land Group in Kansas.
Correct.
And I recently learned this in preparing for this episode, an international spearfishing world record holder. I'm gonna have to
Yeah.
ask about that later because I've
All right.
never, I didn't even know that was a thing, I guess. NWTF Grand Slam achiever, published outdoor writer, in addition to, on top of all this, being an avid bow hunter and having a love for the outdoors. So, start us off, just give us an introduction on yourself and tell us a little bit about who you are.
Great. Well, first of all, you make me sound really cool.
That's my job. I have to do that.
Don't feel like I'm that cool, but when you put it on paper like that, maybe I've done some cool things. I don't know. Well, like you said, I'm Jen. I grew up in the Southern Sierra Nevadas in California. Don't judge me. But actually did not grow up hunting at all. I think the most animals I had ever killed was with my truck, and it was probably like a squirrel, and I probably freaked out. But I grew up actually in the outdoor space in a totally different aspect. I was a snowboard instructor as well as I used to race dirt bikes. My life revolved around dirt bikes. I loved them. I still do, but I haven't rode in years. But yeah, so I went to San Diego State for a marketing degree, and I knew I didn't want to live in California after I graduated. I would have left straight out of high school, but I don't want to pay out of state tuition, so I was like,
Yeah.
I'm just finish college and I'm gonna scoot. Luckily, the Lord intervened and I got introduced to my now husband back in 2010. He was from Southern Missouri, and we sort of started dating on Skype, which I don't even know, is that a thing anymore?
I don't
Skype.
think that's a thing. I think FaceTime and some of the other video chat apps have taken over the world at this point. I haven't I haven't heard anybody say Skype in a long time.
Right. Yeah. So that was we because of the distance, that's just how we kind of dated for a little while. And then I ended up moving to Springfield, just outside Springfield, Missouri in 2010 after I graduated college. And he taught me how to hunt, he taught me how to spearfish, he taught me how to do all the things. And I like totally replaced dirt bikes and snowboarding with hunting. And I don't know how I could possibly fit everything that I love to do in, but it definitely got replaced with hunting and all the things outdoors. So
Yeah.
I just traded one passion for another, and I love it. I'm so grateful for it. But in 2020, we moved to Kansas, job opportunities and some other stuff. But that's how we got to Kansas, and actually found out I was pregnant during that time. So 2020 was a great year, if you know what
Busy
I
year, yeah, for sure.
mean. But yeah, that's a little bit about me. I can
So
elaborate on any of that if you'd
Well,
like.
yeah, I want to dive in real quick too, because you just talked about how you had these outdoor passions with the snowboarding, the dirt bikes, and all that kind of stuff, and how you traded them for new outdoor passions when you got exposed to hunting and started getting involved in that. What was that initial introduction like for somebody? Because it sounds like this I call it a adult onset hunter. And it sounds like that was your experience. So what was that like for you the first time that you got to go hunting?
Well, honestly, I was afraid of guns, like so afraid. Um, it's just because I didn't understand them and I never was really around them. It wasn't like I was an anti-gun person. That just wasn't me. I just didn't know enough about them. All that I knew is that they were dangerous and people died a lot. Especially, I watched a lot of movies, right? So, people with wielding guns are usually either the hero or the villain, right? Either way, they're a dangerous thing, and that's kind of where my fear stemmed from. But Dusty took me under his wing, and like we did like some CCW classes. We went and shot rifles, like, and slowly, like with tears running down my face, I got to where I could shoot a gun and actually turned out to be pretty good at it with some proper instruction. So that was cool. He was an avid bow hunter, so obviously sat in the tree a lot with him while he was bow hunting, and he's like, "We're gonna get you a bow." The loud boom of the gun just doesn't seem to be your thing, and I mean, I will hunt with a rifle if I need to. I call it the equalizer because sometimes you just need to equalize the playing field there.
Yeah, I'm not an equalizer. I'm bow only. Haven't gone back to the equalizing method. So
I haven't shot a deer with a rifle since I guess it was the winter. I don't know. I've got a recovery video where I've got my son. He's not even one yet on my back when we're recovering him. So
that's
I think
cool.
it was probably 21, 22 when last time I killed the deer with a gun. But as a new mom, I kind of, like I said, had to equalize the playing field there.
Yeah, understandably so.
Yeah, I don't know. That was my introduction to hunting, and his whole family hunted. I mean, it's a way of life in the Midwest, right?
Absolutely.
So I just kind of wanted to learn everything that there was to learn about being a Midwesterner, and that involves wearing camo just about everywhere and hunting whatever you can eat. So
Yeah,
that was my intro.
that's awesome. Very cool. So where did the passion for archery specifically kind of come from? Because I know, like you said, you equalize sometimes, but you do bow hunt as well. So where did that
Yeah.
begin?
So, like I said, I sat in the tree a lot with, well, he was my boyfriend at the time, Dusty. He loved bow hunting, and I saw him take a couple of animals with a bow, and the more I learned about hunting, the more I realized it's not about killing. And, I think all of us know that to be true now, but I'm trying to like remove myself from now and put myself back, what was that,
Right.
15 years ago? Like I realized or I was learning that it wasn't about killing, it was about hunting. Well, you don't get much more primitive hunting than with the stick and string, right? I mean, I do use a compound bow. I'm not using a trad bow, but I loved the idea of like the sneaking up and the scent control and getting close and learning your deer and I mean, you almost have a relationship with them, you know what I mean? So like, I don't know, just bow hunting just fit me better than gun hunting does. And I just grew a love for it. And here I
No,
am still doing it, and I
I
love it.
I completely understand. I went bow only in 2000. It was after the 2013 season is when I went bow only, and I did both bow and rifle for a stint there. Um, but yeah, it was actually, and I've told this story for our listeners are probably like, oh, here we go again. But I've told this story on the show before on how I shot still my biggest whitetail to date with a rifle, and it was one of those hunts where I got out there real quick, kind of last minute, just sat on a ridge in blue jeans, and ended up shooting this whitetail that I'd never seen before, but he was a monster buck, huge 8 point, and I was tickled to death. But I was like, man, that was so easy. I didn't have any history with this deer and everything. He just showed up and I shot him at 150 yards. So after that, I wanted that uh, more kind of close knit, up close and personal feel to hunting and everything with that. Or I later on got into like long range shooting with my bow and everything. So that was a whole nother animal for like hunting out west and that kind of stuff, as far as being able to take animals with a bow or prepared to take animals with a bow at long range. So I definitely understand the want to get up close and personal. That's me as well. So
Yeah. Yeah. So you get it. Yeah,
Yeah.
I loved it, and I still love it. I don't know. It's my favorite way to hunt for sure.
Yeah, there's nothing like it for sure. I do want to throw it out there. Just I didn't say at the beginning, but for our listeners that are tuning in, we are live on YouTube with this episode. If you have questions that you would like to shoot Jen's way, or just general questions on the show, feel free to hit us up in the chat section on YouTube. We're monitoring that, or I am at least. Um, so Jen, I wanna ask you, like I mentioned at the beginning, you are an agent for the Midwest Land Group. And that's kind of the initial thing that caught my attention, and what led me to kind of doing some research on you and sending an invitation and everything is because I'm a little curious about that, and I have some questions and some topics to discuss specific to that. But the first one I just want to ask you, I've already talked about how you were pursuing, I believe you said, a marketing degree. Was where you what you went to school for and everything, and then you moved to the Midwest. Where did the interest to become, to get involved with Midwest Land Group begin?
Yeah, it's a really cool story actually.
Awesome.
So I, when I first moved to Missouri, it was in 2010, right? I don't know if you remember what the job market was, but it was crap.
Yeah.
I couldn't find a job anywhere. I ended up working, I think, at the hospital as like a receptionist or something. I don't know. That was not for me. But I ended up working for a small ag implement company for a little while, and I loved that. Got to meet a bunch of farmers, and I have an FFA background growing up. I know that sounds silly from California, but I was really involved in FFA, so
That's
very I have
awesome.
a strong ag background. So dealing with farmers was like my jam.
Hey guys, sorry to cut y'all off from the conversation. We'll get back to it in just a second. But first, I want to tell you guys about Hoot Camo. Hoot Camo is one of the best camouflage brands out there for the blue collar hunter. The prices, you can't beat them. The patterns are extremely versatile. They work in so many different environments. I have worn Hoot Camo hunting whitetails, hogs, and turkeys down here in the hardwoods, the mesquites, the scrub brush of Texas. I've worn it in the flatland plains of eastern Colorado hunting mule deer. I've even worn it in the mountains of central Idaho hunting elk. It works in so many different places. It is extremely high quality gear, extremely warm, holds up well against the elements. You cannot beat it. Go to hootcamo.com, use the code FallObsession15 on your next order, no matter how big or small it is, and check out everything that Hoot Camo has on there for you guys.
And it being a small implement company, I worked a lot on the sales side, so that was really neat. Um, there wasn't any upward growth movement there. So I was there for, I think, about 5 years, and I got a job with USDA as working in farm loans. So got a nice government job there for a little while. And it was a really good job. So I did a lot. I worked more on the lending side of real estate for a long time, and I really enjoyed it. Again, working with farmers, helping the next generation buy grandpa's farm and continue the ag legacy. And I loved that part of it so
Yeah.
much. Um, like I said, turn of events, we got some job offers, and we ended up moving to Kansas in 2020. Well, that was not that was not in the life plans. I mean, we had built our house on family ground that, we built it to where we could die there. We everything was handicap accessible. Like we really thought ahead.
Right.
Anyways, we ended up moving to Kansas, and because we were so attached to our property that we had in Missouri, like we really wanted something similar. Um, so we began the search, and we were introduced to Midwest Land Group through that process. And we bought our first farm before we found a house in Kansas, so it was kind of fun.
That's cool.
But we developed a relationship with our with a agent. His name's Trent Siegel. You might have heard of him. He's on Heartland Bowhunter.
Hmm.
Uh, Great guy. He and like in my line of work in lending, like I dealt with a lot of, I don't want to sound rude, but I'm just gonna say it, like bonehead real estate agents
Oh
for
yeah, they're out
over a
there.
decade. Like just yes. So when we met Trent and started dealing with him, like it was a breath of fresh air, like learning how a good real estate agent does things. And it was so nice. And I don't know, man. It was enjoyable. Well, we didn't end up meaning to do this, but we ended up buying and selling like 5 farms with him within like a year and a half.
Oh, wow.
We were trying to find the place that we wanted to call home, place where we wanted to build. Us not being from Kansas, we didn't know where that was. I think we owned ground in one, two, like 3 different counties, just trying to figure out where we wanted to be. And all the while, Trent was our agent through the whole thing, and it was fantastic. Now, keep in mind, I had a government job. Like, I wanted to stay there for 30 years, right? Pretty stable, good paying, good insurance, all those things.
Hmm.
Well, fast forward to this year, and if you've been paying attention, the government's not really a great place to be as an employee at the moment. So, yeah, I took the deferred resignation program. And I was like, shoot, I know exactly what I want to do. Like I'm familiar with real estate. I love hunting. I love helping people learn how to hunt. I like developing properties. I like looking at it, from a deer hunting point of view. I love farmers. I'm like, this just makes sense.
Yeah.
And with my awesome relationship that we've had with Trent, I was like, I knew exactly what brokerage I wanted to work for. So, I'm actually, I didn't even apply to go any other place. So I'm really happy that they ended up hiring me on.
Yeah.
But
Worked out.
yeah, I wasn't even entertaining any other brokerage. But anyway, so yeah, I got hired on with Midwest Land Group this spring and kind of hit the ground running. It's been really cool. I actually have an appointment this afternoon to go talk with some people, and with deer season coming up, it's kind of fun to start talking to people like with rec properties that are wanting to sell. Because I'm like, man, there's some out of state people with a deer tag burning in a hole in their pocket. So, I mean, it's just like I said, it comes down to my love for being outside, my love for talking about the outdoors and developing deer hunting properties and talking about big deer and little deer, whatever. I don't deer hunting and turkey hunting, I don't care. Like I just love it and farmers in general too. It's just they're good people and I'm really enjoying it so far.
That's awesome. So are there any major differences in somebody who is more exclusively dealing with land in these situations versus just your normal realtor that's out there selling in the suburban areas and city areas and that kind of stuff?
Huge difference. Huge difference. And that's not to say that's a bad thing because I would not be good at selling a house in town. You know what I mean? So like
Right.
we're talking about land sales here specifically, but I would say, and I don't want to overgeneralize because that's really not fair, but the average real estate agent in an area is going to specialize in houses. They're not going to know anything about land. They might be like, "Oh, that where are there cows out here?" Or they might not be able to identify like what crop is growing or how
What
to
it's going
look
to
at
be good for
soil.
in the future. Yeah.
Yeah, or soil types, or I mean, a tree identification, or looking at travel corridors for deer hunting. Like, you know, you have to have a certain skill set to be able to look at a piece of ground and be able to identify some of those things. So, yes, there's a huge difference in hiring somebody that knows what they're looking at. Absolutely.
Gotcha. So, this is a relatively new endeavor for you, is my understanding. So, what have been already at this point in your career, what have been some of the greater successes and then also challenges that you have faced that your normal, average Joe listening to this podcast might not really think of from the realtor's standpoint?
Oh man. So, one of the biggest drivers of one of the reasons why I wanted to be a real estate agent is and I've been talking about this well before I was a real estate agent, like back in 2020, really, because we filmed one of my deer hunting episodes and I kind of talked about it a little bit. Um, the dream of owning your own hunting property is real.
Hmm.
So many people and have, I mean, let's just bring up like haters are gonna hate, right? Oh, it must be nice to be able to hunt on your own property, or oh, it must be nice to hunt, 160s on your own property. It's like, dude, you can do it too.
Hmm.
I mean, cut back on a few of them Amazon packages every month and you can afford a land payment. I mean, really,
True.
it comes down to that. It really does. Um, there's lots of ways to go about acquiring land. There really is, like through the FSA office, through out here it's Frontier Farm Credit. Like there's lots and lots of lending options. And word on the street, as some interest rates might be going down next month. I mean, the stock market went bananas last week when they announced that, so that's a good thing.
Yeah.
But I know a lot of people right now are freaked out by interest rates, and they are high, but if you look back historically, they are not high at all. I mean, my parents talk about astronomical interest rates when they bought houses back in the 80s. It's like, how did you afford that
Oh
many
yeah. Back in the
houses
Jimmy
were?
Carter administration, stuff was crazy back then, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, everything was a lot cheaper back then, but it's all relative, right? Interest rates are interest rates.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Like I said, the dream of land ownership is a lot more attainable than people realize. Um, and like I said, it really comes down to just buckling down on your budget just a little bit. If it's something you're truly dreaming about, you can make it happen. You really
Yeah.
can. Yeah.
So, and on that note, I'll expand on that because that was a point that I was gonna discuss in greater detail was the attainability of that land. Because like you just said, for so many people, it's a dream. We've had this conversation on this show before, in reference to just, the quote unquote dream hunts, right? You can keep dreaming about this big hunt out of state somewhere off of, after this super crazy animal or whatever, but are you actually putting anything toward executing it and making it happen, right? And I look at this as the same way. But where does somebody start? Like if they're listening to this podcast, they're like, okay, maybe it is more attainable than I'm thinking about or than I realize. Where should they start from there, in your opinion?
Well, I would say, um, what's your hunting goals?
Hmm.
I think everybody would agree that Kansas and Iowa are kind of the oh my gosh deer hunting meccas, right? Um, but what's the availability getting a tag? Are you a resident? Are you a non-resident? Like a lot of those things kind of you should take into consideration. If you're a landowner, though, I mean, you can get a tag. Like I can't remember what the minimum acreage is, but is it 80? It might be 80. I forget, but you can have a tag just by being a landowner. And
Yeah.
you don't have to go through some of those hoops. So that's kind of cool. But what I would say, like the very basic is, do you like where you live? Do you want to hunt there? Do you want to travel to hunt? Or do you want to hunt somewhere close? I mean, that's everybody's different. Me personally, I got a little spoiled when I was introduced to hunting, was I lived on the farm that I hunt, and that was a non-negotiable for when we moved to Kansas. I wanted to live on the farm that I hunt.
Yeah.
So here we are. I love that. Of course, once you attain one goal, you always strive for better, right? One day, Dusty and I would like to own more acreage and something with elk on them. We've had elk on our farm here. We've had a handful of trail camera pictures, but the herd has moved. But I don't know. I think it'd be so cool to kill an elk on your property in Kansas. That'd be awesome.
So let me ask about that because that
Yeah.
is far from anything probably anybody thinks of when they think of Kansas hunting. The elk is probably one of the last animals on their mind. And for me, I'm from Texas. So when I think of Kansas, I'm automatically the first thing that comes to mind is all like the hunting shows that you watch online or on the outdoor channel where you see fields and creek beds and tree lines in between fields and more of that kind of environment, right? You don't think of mountainous terrain or anything. So where are the elk in Kansas, and what's it like to kill an elk in Kansas? What do you have to do to accomplish that?
Well, I've never killed one, so I can't tell you what that's like. But so basically, Fort Riley, which is just west of Manhattan, it's a big army base out here. They have a resident herd there. Fort Riley's huge, but basically those elk, you can't keep them contained. They travel, they migrate, and that's basically where these elk were coming from. And now Fort Riley is a little over an hour away from me if you were driving on the highway. But they're in the area. I mean, it's
Hey, folks, if you guys are in the North Texas area like I am, then you need to go to Bear River Archery and Pro Shop in Van Alstyne, Texas. Justin and the guys up there have an incredible operation set up. They will take great care of you and all of your archery needs. They are the official bow shop in North Texas, a Fall Obsession. I love going there, and I'm picky. If you guys know me, I am very selective on who I let work on my bow. I will let Justin work on my bow. They do great stuff. Check out Bear River Archery and let them know that Fall Obsession sent you.
there's been sightings all over the place. It would boggle your mind how far they have strayed from Fort Riley. And of course they keep multiplying, so like that's good news for us. But you never know when you're gonna see one, get one on camera, and if you do have one on camera, you can go get an over-the-counter tag for it.
Okay, that was going to be my next question is what is it like to actually kill one and I say kill one. I'm talking more like the licensing, like what
Yes.
you have to, is it a draw? Is it, OTC, but you just said it's OTC, so
Well,
interesting.
I think it's only residents that can do that. I
Okay,
could be, but
that would make sense.
Fort Riley has a limited draw every year, and it's just their public land that they have. I applied for it once, but we didn't get drawn, and then I get too busy hunting the deer on my property that I just like I don't know. I just haven't put in for it again. I should, but I haven't.
Well, there's a sense of pride and ownership too, and investment that comes with, hunting your own deer in that sense. I don't live on the property that we hunt here in Texas, but we have our own large piece of property that is ours to hunt. And yeah, so I would just as soon hunt out there than go somewhere else to shoot somebody else's deer. So yeah.
And that's Dusty, and keep in mind, all of this goes back for everything Dusty's taught me. So like he's got a biology background, so he's very scientific when it comes to like plants and all the things. But why did I say that? Why did I even bring that up? I guess deer hunting for him is just it's deeper than just surface level, I guess is why I brought that up. So
Hmm.
he grew up watching, like Bill Winke
Yeah.
and some of the greats like that. And Bill's known for hunting one deer. And that's kind of where we have gone with our hunting is we will pick out a deer, we'll target it, and that is the only deer that we'll shoot unless some freak comes out that doesn't live on
Right.
us. As they do during the rut, you never know what's going to show up. But, that's where we spend all of our time is hunting one deer. Um, it's a lot of fun and very time consuming because there's lots of opportunities to kill a deer, right? But
Hmm.
it's it ups the ante when you're hunting for the one. And you can see as I'm describing this why that takes up so much of my time is I'm just trying to figure out how to kill this one deer and I just don't have time to go hunt an elk when I'm studying these guys.
No, that makes sense. Like it is a like you're going to school. Yeah, you're like you just said, you're studying this deer, you're trying to learn this deer's patterns and habits and figure out how you're going to hunt them. And then there's all the other factors that come into play as far as weather and wind. And I know moon phases seem to be a debated topic. And on this show, we've had some whitetail experts on this show that have given me some interesting thoughts on that from the standpoint of it doesn't matter all the way to it matters and in its entirety. So I don't know what to think about the moon, but all is to say is hunting one specific deer is it is definitely rewarding when it pays off. In the end, it's a lot of hard work, but I think it makes you a better outdoorsman or woman or woodsman in that sense too, because you're more honed in and focused on every little minute detail. And when it all finally does come together, like from this all the way down to you releasing that arrow or pulling that trigger, it's like, okay, everything has to be executed right to pull this off. It all comes down to this moment, and then it's up to you to actually make it happen. So, yeah, I can appreciate that. I wish I could say that I was successful in picking out a deer, hunting a deer, and killing a deer. Typically, I normally end up in the boat every year of, all right, I got like four target bucks, and if any one of them walks out in front of me, I'm shooting them. I wish I could hone it in a little bit more than that, maybe one day, but that's the boat I'm in right now. But
And there's nothing wrong with that. I
no,
mean,
yeah.
and I think that's something that drives me a little bit insane with the internet these days. Everybody thinks that their way of doing things is Bible, and everybody else is wrong. And
Hmm.
if you're not doing it their way, you're doing it wrong, and you're doing it for the wrong reasons, and blah blah blah. It's like, what happened to going out and harvesting some meat to put in your freezer?
Oh yeah. No, it's there
You
has
know?
there has to be there has to be grace in that when you're just scrolling social media. Like you can see a dude that shoots a 2-year-old buck or something like that, and he does the old grip and grin post, and
Good for
if
him.
yeah, exactly, like that. For all I know, I don't know this guy, I don't know his situation. For all I know, that could have been his only opportunity to hunt for the whole year, and that was meat in his freezer, right? And that to him, that's his 180. That's his 100, that's his monster buck. Who am I to judge? But so many people want to go keyboard warrior and hop in the comments and just start giving people a hard time for shooting a young deer or making a poor shot or whatever it might be. And yeah, I've talked about it before. It's just we have to be united as hunters and support one another in those senses. I mean, yes, we got to hold each other accountable for people when they do stupid stuff. There's people who do bad.
Ethical.
Yeah, there's people who do unethical stuff out there that give hunters a bad name, and we can't support that. But at the same time, for for somebody that's in a different phase than someone else in their hunting journey, we can't hold them. We can't be critical of that, in my opinion. So,
Yeah, we're better together, and it all paints a picture of the heritage that we all love so much. So,
hmm.
I agree.
So I do wanna ask you, kind of, since we talked just briefly, kind of brought up the social media side of everything and stuff. Um, what has that been like for you? Because obviously, if it weren't for social media, uh, you would have never popped up in our fall obsession thread with the Midwest Land Group and everything. So like you're posting, you're active on there, you're sharing your outdoor journey on social media. What's that been like for you as far as taking that passion that you have public, if you will?
Yeah, well, let me preface that with saying this, like I never like aspired to have like a Instagram presence or anything like that. And I truly like comparison to what some people have, I don't have the following that a lot of people do. And like I'm okay with that. Absolutely.
Right.
Um, so I got into hunting because I loved it. And at the time, there was there was one set of women's hunting gear available at Bass Pro Shops, and I was blessed to live by Springfield, Missouri, where the biggest Bass Pro Shops is. So, when I got into it, Dusty was like, "All right, let's go get you some camo." Well, he was given some sage advice by an older gentleman to make her feel comfortable and cute. So, he took that advice. So we went to Bass Pro, and there was one set available of women's hunting gear, and it was a collaboration with Scent Lock and The Crush.
Hmm.
It had pink zippers on it. It was Realtree AP, I think is what it was. But I still have that suit to this day. I loved it. But that was it. That was all that was available for women was one brand was making women's hunting gear at the time. And social media has come such a far, so far from those days. So like that was 2010-ish, right? You
Hmm.
know, Tiffany Lukoski and Eva Shockey, those are the names. If you were a female archer or hunter, like you knew who those people were and you were following them like glue, right?
Right.
Well, I to me, like I didn't grow up hunting. Yeah, those women are awesome and amazing, and I've thank the Lord have been able to meet both of them through certain channels and tell them my story. But I couldn't relate to them. I didn't grow up hunting. I didn't know like they knew how to do all this stuff already. Like nobody was talking about how as a beginning hunter, a female girl out in the woods, like what how do you do things? Like how do you go to the bathroom out there, right? I mean,
Right.
nobody's talking about like how it's different for girls. And I kind of was just like, there's a need for that. Well, I don't know. Like I said, I got into bow hunting and stuff, and I developed some relationships with people, and I actually developed a relationship with Bowtech back in, I think it was 2019, I believe. I think it was 2019. I had been shooting Bowtech since before then, but I really, by way of Midwest Archery out in Springfield, shout out to them. I love Brad and Jason, actually the whole Williams family, but they got me hooked up with the sales rep in the area. And I was like, listen, like this is what I want to do. It's important. And that's how I started Ladies Archery Night with my friend Ashley Rhodes
Awesome.
at Midwest Archery in Springfield. And I wanted to create a place where if women wanted to learn how to shoot a bow, they could come in a non-competitive environment, ask all the questions. The guys would be there to help tweak their bows or help them buy a bow if they needed that, but they could come and they could shoot without being intimidated or scared or I mean, even just to have fun shooting, like even if they knew what they were doing already. So
Hmm.
created Ladies Archery Night, and that was the catalyst for me as far as like helping other women in the outdoors. And luckily, Bowtech liked it, and I got involved with Bass Pro Shops through duck hunting a little bit. Like I said, I grew up, well, not grew up, I was from that area, so I learned to meet a lot of people that worked at Bass Pro, and so we just did a few collaboration projects and was able to just start my platform on that is getting more women in the outdoors and helping them, showing them how to do things and being a sounding board, if you will. I've been able to be in the a little bit of research and development for some of the she gear, which is Bass Pro's female line.
Hmm.
That's been kind of cool to just develop new products for girls. I really enjoy doing that because I feel like that's super meaningful work. But that's kind of where my social media went. For a little while there, I was into spearfishing, till I moved to Kansas. But um, spearfishing helped grow my social media quite a bit, actually. I was one of the only at the time females spearfishing in freshwater. Typically it's a saltwater thing.
Hmm.
And so it was basically Dusty and I were free diving. So we had no tanks. We hold our breath. It's basically snorkeling, but like we'll dive down to, 40, 50 feet and shoot fish
Wow.
on a single breath of air. So pretty cool sport, but not a lot of people do it in freshwater. So him and I kind of grew a little bit of a following there. Donald Trump Jr. followed him on the internet, and then his dang Instagram got hacked, and he lost a whole bunch of really cool followers. But
Oh man.
spearfishing was definitely our jam, and it's like that was a big part of social media for me. But it kind of all comes like full circle. Like I will hunt anything that I can eat, right? And that in the summertime, like what do you do in the summertime? I mean, I will rod and reel fish, but like I'd rather put on a mask and dive down and shoot a fish in the face. You know what I mean? Like that's just so much more enjoyable to me. But
Oh,
I don't know. So that just helps buy the time to get through summer and go into fall. Because, like I said, we're fall obsessed, right?
there we go. It all revolves back to fall for sure.
Hey guys, Trophy Edits is a Fall Obsession podcast partner. We all have mounts on our walls that represent a significant moment, a significant harvest in the woods for each and every one of us, and photographs can do the same. I'm sure you guys have pictures from years past, hunting with loved ones or being in the woods with family and friends that also represent those big moments. And what Trophy Edits does is they showcase those moments for you guys, just absolutely make your pictures explode and to the level that you guys can put them on the wall and also have that memory forever represented in your home, your office, your man cave, whatever it might be. Give Trophy Edits a chance to do the work for you guys. And again, they make those pictures just absolutely awesome with their professional team of editors. So go to Trophy Edits website. The link is in the podcast description. That lets them know that you guys came from us, and use the code Fall Obsession at checkout to save you guys some money.
So,
Yeah.
so on the note of spearfishing, because I mentioned this at the beginning, and I said I was going to ask more about it. So you've talked, you kind of set the stage for the spearfishing a little bit. Um, but according to your bio on the Midwest Land Group page, you are the an international spearfishing world record holder. What world record do you hold?
Okay, well, I at one point held five of them. I I set the I shot the very first striped bass, free diving striped bass in fresh water. Of course, they're also a saltwater fish too. You
Hmm.
can shoot striped bass or you can hunt striped bass out in the ocean, but to do it freshwater, well, I guess shouldn't say I'm the first person. I'm the first person that turned it in, right?
Okay, yeah.
I don't know if I'm the first person that ever did it, but so I set and broke that three different times.
Wow.
Yeah, so that was cool. Love hunting striped bass. They are so much fun. Let's see, my other ones was a buffalo, and then the other one was just a drum,
Okay.
freshwater. Yep.
Wow.
It's been a while since I've been out there, but yeah. So the rules are different for freshwater than it is for saltwater. For a freshwater fish to be a world record, it needs to be at least 5 pounds. The ocean fish are the minimum is 10. So that being said, excuse me, my first striper, I believe, was like I want to say it was like 11 pounds, maybe. But it went all the way up to 30. What was my biggest one? It was like 33 or something like that. So that was a big fish.
Wow.
Um, yeah. And then the buffalo and the drum were, I don't know, they were like sub 10, but whatever. It was a record.
Yeah.
But so I stopped chasing that when the International Underwater Spearfishing Association awarded a girl broke my striper record. And like, listen, records are meant to be broke, right? That is my
Hmm.
stance. I was not okay with this one particular stance because this girl shot this fish in like 5 foot of water up the Sacramento River,
Hmm.
California. That is a saltwater striper that has gone upstream to spawn.
Hmm.
That's not a freshwater striper.
But there that criteria wasn't taken into consideration, I guess.
I
So.
I argued with the board for a couple of months about that, and I don't know, they for whatever reason they were like, whatever, like no, she did it, and I was like, I'm not saying she didn't kill a fish. I'm not saying that
Hmm.
at all. I'm just saying it's not a freshwater fish.
Yeah.
It may have been in freshwater, but that was not a freshwater fish. I mean, I shot mine in Beaver Lake, Arkansas. That is not a saltwater fish at all. But anyway, so that kind of made it lose the luster that it once did.
Yeah.
It's like, you know what? I'm not going to like to me it just lost all credibility right there.
Hmm.
I was like, I'm not interested in that anymore. And I still think it's a really cool thing. Like I love spearfishing. I think it's I mean, let's be honest, like I wasn't spearfishing for records. Like I spearfished walleye because I love to eat walleye and
Hmm. No, no, you were still passionate about the I don't want to say sport, but the actual the activity itself, like the act of hunting and what it meant. It was more the pomp and show of the world record that you're saying lost its credibility. So
Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
gotcha.
Yep. I was like, well, I'm done chasing that then.
Yeah. No, I can understand that. We never we never do this for the records. I assume there's people out there that probably do, but I know there is, but it should not be about the records. If the records are there to be had and you luck out into one, then that's great. I killed in 2018. I shot a pronghorn antelope. That was an absolute stud. My first antelope, shot him with a bow. I was excited about it. And it wasn't until after I got the mount back from the taxidermist and I posted a picture of it that a bunch of my buddies were like, "Did you have that thing scored?" And so I was like, "No, really hadn't." So I did a rough tape on it and I ended up doing it two or three times to make sure that my numbers were right because he would be Pope and Young record book pronghorn. And again, that's not why I shot him, but I was like, man, that'd be pretty cool to have one in the record book. He ended up not being in the record book because he had a split in his cutter that I had repaired, and because of that, it's artificial technically by their definition and can't be entered. So I was like, ah, well, I mean, that's the caliber of goat he is. I know that. That's good enough for me. Like it's more than good enough for me, but you know, you don't go out there like, oh, I got to shoot a Pope and Young record book holder right here. So yeah, I understand that for sure. What is the so you talked earlier about how most people think of spearfishing or that kind of stuff. They're thinking of, the saltwater side of everything. I personally, I've never done it. I know nothing about it. You've probably told me more about it than I've known up till now. But um, what are some of the key differences that come to your mind in the saltwater versus the freshwater? And mainly, I'm thinking like the videos that I've seen at least are in the saltwater are these big like crystal clear waters, and you can see everything for forever. It seems like is it that way in freshwater or is it more of a challenge?
No. And that's one of the reasons why we don't do it out here in Kansas. The water out here is just muddy. And there's
Hmm.
just so much ag and sediment and the water is just you can't even see your hand if you put it in the water. Like it's just not
Mm.
clear. Good fishing out here, but not sport fishing.
Yeah, that makes it hard.
But that's one of the reason why we like to spearfish in Arkansas specifically. Now, if you do decide to get into spearfishing, like you need to check your state's rules because not every state allows spearfishing of game fish.
Mm.
Most states allow you to spearfish like carp and, trash fish, just like bow fishing. But spearfishing for game fish, like I said, I like to shoot things that I'm gonna eat, right? Um, Arkansas allows that. So we spent a lot of time down at lakes in Arkansas where the water's super clear, which is great. But, you know, it really comes down to time of year. Like, has it rained? Is it windy? Are they letting water out of the dam? What the water level is,
A lot of
what what
factors.
what the terrain looks like
Mm.
under the water. Usually fish like to be right around that thermocline. Well, that moves, in early summer that can be really shallow. Late summer, it's really deep. It moves.
Mhm.
So and sometimes it's thicker than the other. I mean, shoot, when you're diving straight down, right? It's like punching through a bowl of split pea soup sometimes. Like it is thick and it
Really?
messes with your brain. But once you get below that thermocline, man, it's like for one, the water is freezing underneath the thermocline. I've given myself an ice cream headache when I didn't have like my hood on. But it can be very clear underneath there. I mean, it's dark though, so you're kind of limited on your sight by the light that is allowed to come through the thermocline. Um, shoot, I want to say like there's been lots of times you could see 20 plus feet, but there again, it just depends on the day.
And you said that you guys free dive that without tanks or anything. and go like 40, 50 feet down sometimes.
Yes, sir.
So how much time do you like, I mean, this sounds like a super, dumb question, but how much time do you have once you get down there on one breath of air before you're going back up?
So it's different from diver to diver. I mean,
Right.
your lung capacity, what your cardiovascular shape is, a lot of things go into it. How buoyant you are. Like if you're fighting, you're floating.
Hmm.
um, you're going to burn more air. You want to be perfectly buoyant, so you want to have just the right amount of weight on your weight belt so that you're not fighting that. You can just My husband likes to describe it as like almost like a yoga like
Hmm.
state. So you get very relaxed, and there's a science to this. We actually went through free dive training down in Florida. There's like certifications for it, but it's a very dangerous sport if you don't know what you're doing. So like I highly recommend learning how to do it before you do it because you can die.
Yeah, for sure.
So, yeah, it's almost like you go into like a yoga like trance state. You learn how to take your maximum air, your breath, and then you turn upside down and you sink as much because you're gonna sink faster at the top or at the deeper you go, right? You use that to your advantage so you're not finning and you're burning more energy. But you know, I can stay down, let's just say an average 25 to 30 feet, maybe a minute.
Okay.
And that's really all you need because the fish are super curious. Like I always joke with some of these these tournament bass fishermen. I'm like, dude, let me hop on the boat. I'll dive down. I'll set your hook, and then you can just reel them up. Because like, I cannot tell you how many giant bass. Like if we're diving on a bluff, so we'll dive in one spot, and then if we don't shoot anything, we'll come up and we'll fin over like 20 feet and take another dive. Well, like the bluffs are huge, right? They go on for miles. So you could spend an hour or two diving a bluff. Well, these same fish will follow you all the way down the bluff.
Really?
And lunker bass, and I mean, you can't shoot largemouth or smallmouth in Arkansas, so like we
Right.
don't. But you can tell that it's the same fish because they got like markings on them, just like any other fish would. But they're so curious.
Hmm.
Um, so I say that like, so we target walleye. Usually, as soon as you hit the bottom and you get relaxed, the fish will start coming into you, and they're like, what are you?" And then hopefully you're lined up and you shoot them. But that can happen yeah, that can happen on the way down. You can be underwater for 20 seconds and shoot a fish and come back up. But typically, if you're down there for any longer than a minute, like there's just nothing there. Like you just get up and go the next
Goes,
spot.
yeah, go somewhere else. That's really interesting because and I'll be honest, I'm not a huge fisherman personally. Just I cast a line every now and then. We got some ponds and stuff on the property that we hunt on and mainly go out there whenever the kids are out there and can help them kind of experience it, getting started in the outdoors and everything like that. So I don't spend a lot of time on the water or fishing personally, but you always you always hear the guys who are experienced talking about, well, you got to stay quiet because fish can hear you, or fish can sense this, or fish know that, or like. But then you talk about just diving down there and they're just curious and coming up to you. That's funny. That's very
Really.
interesting.
And there is a lot to the loudness thing because, if it's a still day, no wind, and like let's just say we left the radio on the boat up on the surface, you can hear it down at
Yeah,
the bottom of the
that
lake.
makes sense.
But as much as like it's spooking fish, like if there's a lot of lake traffic, I doubt that it's gonna spook fish. But like if it's like, I don't know, December and you're line fishing and it's like been silent for months out there in a cove, yeah, that sound is absolutely gonna spook a fish for sure. But they'll come right on into you. It's loud under the water. Like hearing catfish like raw, raw. Like you just hear all these noises under the water. It's loud.
Huh. Yeah, stuff like that. That just, I don't know. Not everybody thinks about, I guess. That's interesting.
a whole nother world under the water. It
Oh
is
yeah,
really cool.
that's awesome.
Yeah.
I'm gonna circle back real quick also to something that I mentioned at the beginning too that I just want to hear more about because I mentioned earlier that you completed the NWTF Grand Slam. Tell us a little bit about that.
Um, Again, something I did not set out to do.
Yeah.
Hey guys, thanks for listening to the show. Hope you guys are enjoying it. There's so many different places that you guys can tune in to Fall Obsession Podcast, and one of them is the Outdoor Call radio app. Outdoors Dan from Respect the Game TV, he created an app that you can download on any device where you can stream hunting shows and podcasts on a loop every single day. Our show, Fall Obsession Podcast, plays on that loop on Mondays. That's the same day as our new publications on the other apps. And there's also tons of other hunting shows and podcasts on there that you guys can listen to. Go download the Outdoor Call Radio app today. It is free. You can start streaming immediately. And be sure that you follow their Facebook page because Outdoors Dan does some live radio shows throughout the week. And even if you are not local to those radio stations, his broadcasts are shared on his Facebook Live. It's Outdoors Dan and the Outdoor Call Radio app. Go download it today.
I, I had only ever hunted on my own property. I had never gone turkey hunting, like traveling. I've just I usually just get my bird and get my deer and I'm good, you know? Well, um, we got invited to go turkey hunting down on our buddy has a farm, or not a farm, a giant ranch down in Oklahoma, and it covers goes into Texas also. So we were able to hunt two different states in one trip.
Oh, nice.
Well, I there's nothing like turkey hunting Missouri, southern Missouri. It's just those giant eastern birds are something special. So I killed my Kansas bird, which where I live, there's hybrids. So you can definitely tell an Eastern versus a Rio, but I didn't count that in my slam because I was like, I don't know, whatever. But I ended up traveling to Missouri just to go back home and turkey hunt with some of my friends and got my Eastern, and then we went to our buddy's place in Oklahoma and ended up getting two Rios on that trip. So that was cool. I got Texas and Oklahoma, and we were hunting. I'm really good friends with Maggie Williams. I don't know if you know that, but she started out on doing her chasing 49 stuff. Well, she had gotten permission to hunt in Nebraska. And she's like, "Hey, like, come on, like, let's go up there together," because we were all deer or turkey hunting together.
Hmm.
And so we ended up going to Nebraska and got a Merriam's, and I was like,
Nice.
I just need one more bird, guys. Like, how did that happen? Well, it we've got lots of friends in Florida, mainly from spearfishing. A ton of friends in Florida, but they have come up to our place back when we lived in Missouri and gone turkey hunting with us every year. So I was like, hey, I'm gonna cash in the old buddy offer and be like, hey, listen, remember all them times we took you turkey hunting? You want to take me turkey hunting?
Yeah.
So yeah, we actually I he helped me draw a special unit tag down in it was the Big Cypress Addition unit. So Big Cypress is a big public area, but if you go just east, yeah, east, there's the Addition unit, and you have to have a special draw tag in order to turkey hunt that. But that is absolutely the furthest south that you can turkey hunt in Florida. And we were literally in the swamp.
Hmm.
It was insane. I don't Have you ever hunted Osceolas?
No, I have not.
Oh man. Your feet will be pruned if you're hunting in the swamp. And yeah, there was gators everywhere. It was nuts. But yeah, I was able to complete my slam. Like I said, it wasn't something I sought out to do, but I was like, shoot, I'm only one bird away. Like, let's get this thing done.
Yeah.
It was fun. It was that was my first time ever hunting public
Oh,
for anything.
wow.
So that was interesting.
Yeah.
Uh,
Hunting
that's
public and you got alligators swimming around you.
yeah, that was whole nother animal. I have a lot of respect for people who public land hunt.
Oh yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't spend a whole lot of time public land hunting in Texas just because, like I mentioned earlier, a lot of my time and dedication here just goes towards our own place and the deer on it and hunting out there. But um, pretty much any time I've hunted out of state as a non-resident elsewhere, it's been on public land. And yeah, I have a healthy appreciation for both that and the benefit that I have of having private land back home for sure. I think it strengthened my appreciation for both those things. So
Yeah, absolutely.
yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, that's that. I love turkey hunting. I've I do have a funny turkey hunting story. So my very first turkey I got was in the spring of 2011. So it was I moved to Missouri in August of 2010. So that the first spring I was ever there. Um, I had just been engaged, so it was opening weekend of turkey season that spring, and um, Dusty had a shotgun that had a scope on it. So he loves taking kids turkey hunting. So he's like, oh, the scope's the best way to do it for a kid. So I was basically like a kid. He was trying to teach me how to do it.
Yeah.
Uh, well, this thing also had a collapsible stock on it. So, anyways, we were sitting on a tree limb or like a log, a fallen log, or at the base of it for what felt like hours. And this Tom come out, put on a show, and it was so cool, like listening to Dusty talk to it, and it was just really neat. Well, when I touched off on that trigger, the stock went under my arm and that scope come back and popped me. So like
Yep.
I still have the scar to this day. That was 1 week before my engagement photos.
Oh no.
So that was fun. But the funny story is when I got that turkey mounted, I like the typical fan mount. I have my hospital bracelet glued to it. But
That's cool.
that is the first thing the first dead thing, I guess I should say, that my new last name was on is a dead turkey.
That's awesome.
That was a married day.
Very cool.
So yeah.
Well, we are getting close to that 1 hour mark, which is normally what I shoot for here. I got a few things to kind of conclude us that I want to ask you a few questions and everything. And the first one kind of tying everything that we've talked about here together a little bit. I want to ask you about just your future goals and aspirations that you have, because you've clearly had a very awesome and interesting journey into hunting the outdoors, being a land agent and all of these awesome things. So what do you have on the horizon? What are your goals for the future as you move forward?
Oh man. Well, I just figured well, not figured. I just got a antelope hunt lined out for this year.
Awesome.
So it's September 20th is when it opens. Archery opens out here in Kansas. Friends with some landowners out west, so they're gracious to invite Dusty and I out there. So we're gonna go do that. I've not shot one, so I'm really excited to go out there and give it a shot.
It's a fun
Uh,
time.
yeah, I'm pumped. Um, I don't know, my dream hunt is killing a mountain lion with my bow.
A mountain lion with
But
your bow.
I know, like some people want to go to like, I don't know, New Zealand and whatnot. I'm like, man, I want to kill a giant tomcat with my bow in the snow. Like,
In
ugh.
the snow. So what are you envisioning, like hunting over a carcass, or using hounds, or what are your thoughts?
Dogs, yeah.
Dogs?
I
Yeah.
mean, I want the full experience. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's my dream hunt. I feel like it's totally attainable. I just haven't done it yet.
Yeah.
Now Dusty and I would like to, we're not sure if this place that we live now is our forever home. We love it here. But I think the goal is to have something like a new property to develop and turn it into an awesome deer hunting property like we've done with this place. Maybe something that has elk on it a little bit more often. That'd be cool.
Yeah.
I don't know. We're always striving to better ourselves in one way or another. So that's probably the biggest thing is just trying to improve.
Gotcha. Very
Yeah.
cool. That's all you can do. That's should be a goal for everyone. And I always like hearing people's dream hunts. That was actually a question I was going to ask was your top of your bucket list hunts because I ask everyone that comes on the show that, and I hear so many different answers. I hear about so many different awesome trips and opportunities. I'm pretty sure I've had somebody say they want to shoot a cat before, a big cat. I don't know if anybody has been as specific as that they want to do it with a bow. So that's pretty cool for sure. As a bow hunter, I appreciate that.
Yeah. We'll see. Hopefully. I mean,
Yeah. Do y'all have do y'all have cats like up there in your neck of the woods or I
there's
mean
been
you always hear rumors and stories that there's one roaming around here or there, but I didn't know if that was a common thing in your area.
it's getting to be more and more common out here. Yeah. We have seen sign of a mountain lion. I mean, with like a seat, we have a lot of red cedars around here, but like they've clearly scratched up and carcass up in the tree. So like
Hmm.
a mountain lion for sure. Um, but we've never actually seen one. But lots of people around us have, and they've got them on their trail cameras. So they're
Gotcha.
here. Just thankfully very elusive.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
I'd want to go to like New Mexico or
Yeah.
Colorado or something. Yeah.
Yeah, I had a guy on the show. It was last year sometime, but actually a guy that I know personally, a friend of mine, he went on a lion slash bear hunt with dogs in I can't remember if it was Arizona or New Mexico, somewhere over there. But what led to me, he was after a bear. I think his dad shot with a firearm, he shot a lion, but he actually got charged by this bear that he ended up shooting on this hunt with dogs and everything. That's what led to him being on the show. But we talked a little bit about the cat side of that too, and it's definitely an adventure, it sounds like. So it'd be pretty cool.
Heck yeah. Yep. Maybe one day. We'll see.
Yeah, for sure. Well, a couple last questions for you. The first one, you already talked about the dream hunt, which was going to be one of my questions, but I want to ask you about what is your favorite hunting memory to date, and if you could tell us a little bit about that.
Oh man, there's so many.
Yeah.
And like I truly think that like I don't know, like I don't want to discredit gun hunters, but like I feel like as a bow hunter, like you have a lot of heart into it. Like I said, you have a relationship with these deer, right?
Hmm.
The deer, it's probably going to be the deer I shot 2 seasons ago. We started letting our son name our deer that come up on the, I say our deer, they're not our deer. The deer that come up on our trail cameras, we
Yeah.
started to name them. He's 4. So somebody gave us that idea and it was brilliant because everybody's got the same dang deer names, but have a small child name your deer. It'll change your life. But anyways, I was hunting a deer named Dad.
A deer named Dad. Okay.
Named Dad. And yeah, so I I ended up sticking him at he was at 23 yards. It was a beautiful shot. He stepped right out of frame. Like I was self-filming, so I did not get the shot on camera. I got everything else of him coming in, but um doing that all by myself was pretty cool. Usually Dusty's sitting with me. I mean, obviously I hunt by myself. He doesn't pull the bow back for me. Like I do all
Right.
that. But so I was by myself when I did that. So that was really cool. But I think having my son there, like when we were processing him, because we do all that in our shop, that was probably one of the coolest things because he was just old enough, he was 3 at the time. He was just old enough to realize like, hey, that's dad, the deer, dad. Like I don't know, like you could see his wheels were turning, things were starting to click together and like why we do what we do, and then we got to eat him and like that's probably got to be one of my best memories is seeing my son just get into it. and like
Yeah.
be involved with it a little bit because like I said, he knew that deer. So
Yeah.
that was probably, that's up there. I don't know. There's so many good memories, but that's a good one.
Yeah, that's really cool. Anytime that the kids and the next generation are involved or starting to find that passion and that love, that's important for sure. That's awesome. So,
Yeah, it was neat.
well, last question I have for you, and this one is more for your answer, that is more for our listeners.
Oh,
Um, Kind of circling back to a big meat of our conversation being, farmland, hunting land, and your involvement with that. Any advice in closing for anybody who is starting that journey of trying to purchase a farm or purchase hunting land, anything like that? Any advice for them?
shoot. Give me a call. I'll talk to you. I not from a I could make money standpoint. Like, no, I want to help you. I want to answer your questions. If I if I can help somebody achieve their goals of land ownership, I feel like that is the best thing ever. Like, I don't even care about making money at that point. Like, it is so important to me to help people attain their goals. I mean, that doesn't have to be land ownership. That could be archery. That could be, I don't know, anything I can provide any value to. Like, give me a call, reach out. Like I said, I don't have a big enough following to where I don't see direct messages. Like, I will message you back. I will try and help you as best as I can. And if specifically land ownership, yeah, it's if you find something that you want me to take a look at. I mean, granted, land values they vary from area to area, even within the same state. So I'm not going to be able to help you much with that unless it's in Northeast Kansas. Um, but, as far as looking at a property, as far as figuring out if it's a good deer hunting property, I'll take a look at it. I'll see what I can do to help you.
Awesome.
Or if I don't know, I will direct you to somebody who does.
Awesome. Well, very much appreciate that, and I'm sure there's somebody out there who's listening who will as well. So,
Yeah.
tell everybody where they can find you.
I'm most active on my Instagram. It's Jenn_Yarbrough_outdoors. YouTube, Jenn Yarbrough Outdoors. Facebook's just Jenn Yarbrough or Jennifer Yarbrough. I have a private and a public page, but you'll get me on either one. Um, I used to be on I'm still on TikTok, but I don't use it because I have too many dead things that videos that get taken down for violating community guidelines. So
Yeah,
I don't
I
go there very often.
I try to be picky on what I put on the TikTok as far as like our fall obsession pages and stuff. And I haven't tried to post anything dead lately, but our views just took a tank like last week for some reason. I don't know. I did something that the algorithms and TikTok didn't like, so I got to figure that one out. But that's always fun navigating that one. But
But yeah, Instagram's probably the best place to find me.
perfect. Well, Jen, thank you for your time. Appreciate you coming on the show and
Oh,
talking with us about your outdoor life, your passion for hunting and everything, and sharing some insight, answering questions, all of it. Appreciate it. Thank you.
hey, thanks for having me. If I was able to provide any value to anybody, it's been a good day.
Absolutely. It was an awesome conversation. Good talking to you. For our listeners, thank you all for tuning in to another Fall Obsession podcast. Subscribe if you hadn't already, and I will be back with you guys again next week for another podcast. Catch you then.